there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I have some fun crafts for you today. I also have a few sweet friends who's going to be joining me. You're going to be a little bit excited about it, I'm sure. I'll explain those details a little bit later. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on some rustic farmhouse fall home decor crafts, so let's get started with project number 1. For this project, I'm bringing in some salvage wood boards and I'm going to cut them down. I'm going to make an extra long cutting board. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to need 3 boards total for the cutting board. I'm going to use this one for my center and I'm going to actually cut this down to 25 inches because this board is going to have the handle on it, okay? And then I'm going to cut the other 2 boards down to 20 inches, both of those at 20 inches. And then this little trim board on the side, I'm just going to cut it down. I don't know how long they were. You'll see I'm just going to cut 2 pieces for each side of the board. Now, if you don't want to do a cutting board and make one, you can get one at Hobby Lobby. Mine's going to be like this shape. It's just going to be a little wider and a little bit longer, but you can totally do a pre-made board. And then here I'll show you, see, then I'm going to cut 2 pieces to fit like here and here onto the one I'm making. So that's all I'm doing, and that's optional if you don't want to. So here I'm using this cutting board actually, and I'm just tracing the handle because I like the shape of it, and I'm going to cut that out with my jigsaw here. So I'll just let you see a little bit of that action. And of course today we'll see Bella and Boston hovering around in the crafting area, so you might see tails wagging or a little bit of feet laying or a little bit of sleeping or whatever, but it's real life, as I always say. This is not a professional video. So I'll get the rest of this handle cut out, and then we'll go to cut out the other boards at the lengths that we need. So again, that's why this board was a little bit longer to offset for the length of the handle. So these boards I'm cutting down to 20 inches, right? So that middle board essentially being 25 inches makes my handle about 5 inches long. All right, I'm just kind of straightening out this board because it was a little bit crooked. And these boards, I think I got at Habitat for Humanity. They have just like a scrap wood shed, and I just went and picked out some fun salvage wood boards, 25 cents a foot. And they're really liberal with that. They'll look at an 8-foot board and go, $1, you know, when it should have been $2. They're just really nice about it. So cutting these off. Now, one of the boards, I'll come back to it. It broke when I cut it, so we're going to have to wood glue it together. So I'm cutting this little trim board down to the size I need for this. And I think they're probably about 8 inches or so long. I love the color and the rustic of it. Here's the one board that kind of broke, because salvage wood board, you know, they got wrinkles and crinkles and all that stuff. I'm just going to wood glue it together. It's not going to be any problem there. And then I will clamp it, and I'll let that sit for a few minutes as I move on to the other boards. And, you know, we'll get them all sanded up and stuff like that. So just doing a little clamping here. Let it set aside for at least 10 minutes, but a half hour is even better. All right, and then here I am sanding the rest of the boards. I want them all nice and, you know, smooth. I don't want any splinters or anything like that when I handle it. It will be decoration, of course, but I still want it to be nice and smooth. Of course, once everything's done and all sanded, the other board that we had, you know, clamped together is ready to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue and clamp these 3 boards together. Now, when I clamp them, I do that off camera, but I'll give you a shot of how it looks because we had to sort of clamp it a little bit creatively, you know, so that everything would stay together properly. I'll show you what that means here in just a second. And here is my clamping job. So we needed the boards to, of course, stay together from end to end, from top to bottom. But when we did that, then the 2 end pieces kept wanting to, you know, pop up. So we have a couple pieces of, you know, little salvage wood boards there, and we've got those clamped down to hold those 2 boards down into position. I let that set like 2 hours. So here's my board ready to go. I'm going to be doing some stenciling, and I cut it out with my electronic cutter. I like to cut it out in vinyl because vinyl sticks really well onto my projects, and then I don't get like maybe 1% bleeding around the edges, whereas you actually use stencil material to make a stencil, I tend to get bleeding around it. So I will have a free printable for you. If you look in the upper left corner, this is what it's going to look like. The top one is the quote in its entirety, but if you want it as big as mine, which is about 13 inches, you're going to have to resize it. Underneath that, where the pumpkin and the farms and the little pumpkin is separated, that is the actual size, but you would have to kind of piece it together to make your 13 inches across. So I kind of gave you two options there, okay? So I hope that's understandable. And then the other two just go in with what we're stenciling today, and you'll see that in a minute. So I'm going to use Debbie's Design Diary little black dress paint, just a black paint. My stencil brush, I like to dip it in the paint, wipe off the excess so it looks like there's really no paint on your brush at all. And then I come in and I do the up and down pouncing motion. And I will do a light coat all the way across, and then I'll come back through and do another coat if I want. Okay, it's best to do like a light coat, kind of let it dry, and then come back in and do another coat. Again, less bleeding that way. Now, when I do this, there are some areas I'm not fully stenciling in. That way it just looks rustic, and I don't have to try and sand it to make it look rustic. It just kind of does the job for me. So I do a couple of coats, leaving some spaces open. And then for the pumpkin, I wanted to come in with Dixie Belle chalk paint here in the orange, and I wanted to come in with a little bit of black first and then orange over it because I didn't want to just do orange. I thought it would be too bright. And in the end, even though it's not very orange at all, you just really couldn't see it. And I had peeled the stencil off. You can see me peeling it off here. And I'm looking at it going, I don't like that. I should have just went with black because I thought, should I just do the pumpkin in black? And of course, here's what that looks like. You can see it. Yeah, I could have just done vibrant orange, but I was trying to make this look kind of rustic, and like faded, and so I thought kind of a black and orange mixture. Nope, didn't like it. So I actually got the stencil back on there. How I did it, I don't know, in place, and put black right over the top. This was like miracle right here, and look, it looks fabulous. All right, so now the other two stencils, I'm putting them on these skinnier trim boards. I cut these, and I'm doing this so that it kind of looks like the top of a crate with a lid, okay? And crates usually have numbers and stuff like that, so I'm putting it on sideways on, one of our little trim boards. And then this one here, I'm just going to kind of put where I want it on there because obviously not all of it's going to be seen. As I'm doing this, if you all don't know, whenever I do vinyl, Bella loves the sticky. So I have to, I'm trying to move it around and she's trying to follow me to get to the sticky. It's hilarious. So I end up cutting her a little piece and then you'll see her pick it up in her mouth. She'll jump off, come back up for some more. I don't know why she loves the sticky of the transfer paper and the vinyl. So here I am. Look, she's trying to so get to me. I got some sticky there. She'll pick it up, trying to get her out of my way so I can continue crafting. I've even tried to be really quiet, peeling it off slowly, and it's like she can smell it. It's crazy. So I'm getting this, she's still following me around. Look, she's still trying to get to my vinyl here. It's just crazy. She's so funny. So I placed the stencil on where I wanted it. I'll give her a little bit more sticky here so I can finish. I left it in for you guys. I know some of you say, show us more cat. Some of you say, don't show any more cat. Well, we're going to show some more cats here. Get the rest of this off, and then I'll go ahead and stencil these. And like I said, you can see I just kind of placed it in the middle. So it kind of said fall stuff if you, knew what we were doing, obviously, and you do, or it just kind of looked like some random phrase on the top of a crate, some kind of address or something weird like that. Stenciling it again with the, black paint here, and then I'll peel it off and it looks really cool, I think. And again, I stenciled it really light in some areas so that it looks a little bit worn and distressed as usual, and I think it looks great. I love the numbers half hanging off. I love the, letters over here, the words, only part of it on there, but of course on the stencil you have the full words and the full date, or I call it a date because usually they date when the crate's going out or something like that, even though it doesn't really look like a month, day, and year. I just picked some random numbers, but there you go. All right, Bella's coming in for a little pet. Now I'm going to use some Gorilla Wood Glue and get these on. And then I will clamp them down off camera because I still, want to clamp them a little bit. Get them in place just like 10 minutes just so it's got a nice tack, because then I'll come in with some screws, some rusty screws that I found off some other wood piece or something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and, screw these down into the cutting board down below. All right, so get both of these into place. I love this one on the left because it's kind of like a curved board too. It's kind of crookedy a little bit, but it just gives it fun. I love the knot holes in it. Once those are done, I've got some rusty screws here, and I'm just going to put them in kind of a triangular fashion, top, bottom, and into the center on, the outer side of each board. And I pre-drilled some holes so it'll be a little bit easier to get these screws in. I wanted them to be a little bit more visible. They're kind of like blend in, but I love that they were rusty. I mean, I could have used some like bright silver or something like that, but that wouldn't work. See, they look really nice here. And when I screwed them in, I had to make sure I wasn't, you know, I had them in an area I wasn't screwing into a crack in the board or anything like that. So I like this, and I was going to put some handles on it. Okay, and my husband came in just at the time, and I was going to add these handles, and he's like, "Ew, I don't like the handles." So I'm curious, you personally, would you add handles to this or not add handles? I'm going to leave them off because I like it either way. Hubby liked without, that's great. I'm good with it. And now I'm using a really, really large drill bit, and I'm going to drill a hole into the handle here, of course. Oh, that wood was hard. And then before I add any rope to it, I'm taking some of that black paint mixed with water and a fan brush, and I'm just adding some splatters to it. It's very muted. You don't like see it really stand out, but it just adds that little bit of texture and gives a little bit more worn to the cutting board itself. And then instead of twine, I had some of this jute rope. I got it at Walmart a long time ago. It was like $4 or something like that. I'm going to use it. Of course, if you have twine, use twine, but I wanted it to look a little more ropey. I'm going to add that to the hole in the handle, and that makes this project complete. We'll take a look at the results at the final end of the video. So I said I'd share the details about my sweet friends who are joining me, and now is the time. I have Tracy, who is Country Charm by Tracy, and Jen, who is Mother Time here on YouTube, and we are coming together to bring you tons of crafts and inspiration for autumn. I will have a link in my description box as well as pinned in my comments. You click on that link, it'll take you to one convenient location where you can find all of our videos and all of our crafts in, like I said, one convenient location. Anyway, if you haven't seen these ladies, and I'm sure you all have, but make sure you go over, you check out their videos, you say hello, you hit that subscribe button. You are going to love everything they make. They have styles similar to me. They are sweet as pie, and who doesn't love a little pie in the fall? With that said, let's move on to project number 2. For this project, I'm going to be using this beautiful kind of crushed velvety looking orange I got from Hobby Lobby, as well as kind of that waffly weave looking cream colored fabric in the back, again from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to start out with this round pumpkin I used from last pumpkin I made. It's about 21 inches in diameter, and I went to sew this. Normally how do I want to say this? Normally I do a prototype first, and then I come in and show you when I know it's all figured out, so it makes me look like I'm just so perfect at crafting. So sorry to burst your bubble, but this time I was like running a little low on time, so I just came in and did it with you. So I kind of did it how I do it, but I will adjust the pattern for you, so don't cut anything out till you've watched us make the pattern adjustment, okay? So what we're going to do is I've got it just a smaller circle here just to look, and you're going to make like a bullseye. You're going to do a inner circle and another inner circle. See, it looks like a bullseye. And the way I did is that I cut it, or I folded it in half, and then I cut out that inner circle and then the next inner circle. So it looks like I've got kind of 2 frames and then a regular full, filled circle in the middle. Again, as I put it together here, looks like a bullseye. Okay, so this is what I started with. I'm going to cut my fabric out for this project. All right, again, don't you cut anything out till you've watched the fabric adjustment. Okay, get my words right. I'm going to do orange on the first circle, cream in the center, and an orange on the last circle. So what I did, now I'm back to my big circle, is I'm coming down about 4 inches from the edge to make my next ring, so to speak. Don't mind the line that's already there. That was for something else. And then, I'm just kind of going around and making 4-inch marks down from the edge and then drawing my circle. I'll erase this so it doesn't confuse us, okay? Because it was starting to confuse me. And then I'm going to come in, I think about 3 inches down, and make my inner full circle. Okay, so there's this one and this one, and I got the ruler out to show you. 4 inches down from the edge, and then from this second one here is like just about 3¼ inches down from that. And you can make that, these rings or whatever, as thick as you want. And then of course I'm folding it in half and I'm cutting out my pattern pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to start in by showing you what I did, and then we'll cut in and show you what you should do. Okay? All right. Got those cut out. Off camera, I'll go ahead and cut the fabrics. Here's what they look like, of course, as they are cut out. Like I said, off camera, I'll cut out the fabrics. Sorry, I'm a little jumbled here. trying to think ahead and at the present at the same time. Here's my pieces. Everything looks like it should fit together. Okay, not a big deal. So if you're a gluer or sewer, you're going to take that outer ring, the inner part of that outer ring, you're going to, I'm going to pin it because I'm going to sew it. You're going to, I'll say pin it, even if you're a gluer, pin it to the outer ring of that middle circle. If you're a gluer, just come right along the edge here and glue that inner circle of that third ring to the outer circle of the second ring. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, as I'm coming around to pin it all together, I'm going to show you what happened. And it's weird because I still can't wrap my mind around it. It looks like it should fit. So as I get to it almost all pinned up, I find I have this excess fabric here. It doesn't fit the middle circle. And I'm like, why doesn't this work? See, so there's the middle circle and I have all this about probably 4 inches of excess fabric. So I'm going with it, and what I'm going to do is just cut that in half, that excess fabric, and I'm going to pin each side until they lie together flat on the fabric, okay, until I don't, I come to the end of excess fabric, and it's probably easier to see. Fold those back. Here's what I'm going to do here. Fold each side back, and as you see, it's laying flat, and then I will glue it down so it's in position, and I'll cut off the excess, and then I'll sew down where I glued, okay? So I just kept pinning till it all laid flat and cut off the excess basically. Here's what it looks like all sewn. Okay, now you can see I've got that. And then as I pull it out, you can see now the orange fabric fits that cream fabric and I pin it. That's what I did. Now I would do this again to the, here's you can see my little seam here, but don't worry, that'll get hidden when we make segments in the pumpkin. Now as I go to add my inner circle, it's going to be the same thing, but I can't cut out the excess fabric of that cream because I've already sewn it to the orange outer circle, right? So what I'm going to have to do is cut out a new circle anyway. Thus comes in the adjusted pattern, all right? So let's adjust it. All right, so you're going to start out regular. Again, I'm just showing you a mini version here. Do like I said, cut out your circle, whatever size you want it, and then cut out your inner, 2 inner circles, making it look like a bullseye. So you keep your outer circle as it is. You don't touch it. Then you're going to come in with your second and third circle, and I've already kind of done it off camera a little bit. I'm going to bring in the second circle. I've already cut around the perimeter. I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to lay it down here, and what I did is I traced around the outer and the inner. You make sure that inner stays the same. You're not going to adjust that. And in about a 1/2 inch from that outer edge, I cut out my new pattern. Okay, 1/2 inch from the outer edge. Leave that small inner circle as it is. Go ahead and just cut it out. Basically, we're just making a wider second circle. All right, just like that. There's our new pattern on that one. Then we're going to take that full middle inner circle, and I traced it about a 1/2 inch out from the edge. All right, and now I'm cutting that out. Don't you love my drawings here? So now we have a bigger inner circle. All right, this is what you need to adjust your pattern. The regular outer circle, and adjust the second and third circle by 1/2 inch. Now here it is, looking fabulous. Everything fits correctly. I have it pinned because I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. If you're a gluer, you're just going to glue around that outer edge, okay? And make sure when you glue this together, because it's going to be a pumpkin, make sure that you use ample glue, a good fabric glue, or if you're a hot gluer, make sure you use ample hot glue. Should work perfectly for you. And so here I am just sewing it on around the edges, just showing you a little bit so that you can see I really did it. I didn't hire somebody to do it for me. I did it with my own 2 hands. Have to add a little humor in here. I'm sorry. It's just the way I am. All right. Once that is all complete, here's what it looks like. And you can see the seam on mine, but I'll hide that with the, segments that we make in our pumpkin. None of you all will have to worry about it because you'll, have the correct pattern. I'm going to use some fishing line here to help gather the edge of my pumpkin and close it up. I like to use fishing line because I stuff my pumpkins really tight and fishing line doesn't break on me. Now, I usually would tie like 7 or 8 knots, but I had a subscriber who is a fisherman's wife explain to me how to tie a knot, and I only have to tie 1. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this. I love it. So you make a loop on one end of your fishing line, and you take the, end of that, and you go through your loop about 4 times. Just see like I'm doing here. and then pull it tight, just like that. And when you're done, you have this tiny little knot, and that sucker does not move. Yay! Thank you so much for this. I will be doing this knot from now on. That sucker does not come out. And I'll use that same knot system to close my pumpkin as well. So I'm going to start with my needle through the inside of my fabric, and I'm going to go from the in to the out, to the in to the out, about a 1/2 inch apart, basically pleating the fabric onto my needle. And I will keep doing that for as many pleats as I want. I get quite a few on here, probably like 20 or so. And I've got like a nice kind of long, sharp needle. Once I get as many on there as I want, then I'll go ahead and take that needle and pull them all the way through. Just like that. There's my knot. Pull it all the way through, and I'll do that process all the way around till I come back close to that knot. Okay, so here I am. I'm right close to the knot. Here comes Bella to say hey. I'm going to pull my needle out through with that last stitch. And you can leave your needle on or off the fishing line. It doesn't matter, whatever you're using for now. But go and grab that knot and pull it all the way out really long, really long. Okay, and then go ahead and start stuffing your pumpkin. You want to pull it out really long because as you stuff your pumpkin, your thread might come out. So we want it really long so it doesn't come out. And then go ahead and pull it nice and tight and leave an opening just big enough for whatever stem that you want to put in your pumpkin, and go ahead and tie it off. And I'm doing the same thing here. I started with just a little half knot, and now I'm doing the little, through the loop method here. Again, thank you for that. I love it. Don't have to worry that my knot's going to come out. And then here's my stem. It's just like a piece of dowel. I had already stained it for some project in the past. I'm just going to use that. It's already done, actually the right color. I don't know how it got that way, but there it is. And I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to make some segments in our pumpkin, okay? So I'm going to take a really long upholstery needle and then probably like a long piece of crochet string. I don't know how long it is. Go through the opening in our pumpkin, down through the bottom, and I'm going to pull it really tight around the pumpkin. And some reason my camera shut off, so I'm actually on the second loop. And when I come around the pumpkin to the top, then I'm going to go back down through the center again, like this, out through the bottom, wrap it around the pumpkin, down through the center again, and I'm going to continue this all the way around and pull it nice and kind of tight so that you get those nice segmented sections in the pumpkin. That almost did not come out right. And when I come out through the bottom, I don't keep coming out the same hole because I don't want to like rip the fabric. So I just kind of come out in the same general area. So in through the top, out through the bottom, wrap it around, back into the top, out through the bottom. And when you come to the last segment here, I'm grabbing a piece of the thread from one of the other segments already there, and I'm going to just take my needle up under it. Okay? Pull it nice and tight, and then I'm going to come back under it again and make like a little loop, and then I'll pull my needle through it a couple of times and then pull that really tight to make a knot. So when you tie it off, just go through under one of the other strings that you used on the sections, and then tuck it in, and here's what it looks like. I think it looks so kind of elegant looking. I just love how it is with those colors. Again, the fabric came from Hobby Lobby, and I'm gluing in my stem. This is going to be very simple in decoration, okay? I'm using this fall checked ribbon I got from Hobby Lobby. I was going to originally use it for the whole thing, and I'm just kind of wrapping it around the bottom of the stem. And I'm going to wrap it around several times so it's kind of thick and just kind of hides the edges of the, the raw fabric sitting there. So it just kind of fills that area in. All right, I'm going to use some of this artificial pampas grass I got from Dollar Tree. Love the color of it. It's going to look kind of funny when I'm sticking it in here. I use one for each side, but when I flip the pumpkin up and show you, it looks really cool. But here it looks kind of funny. There, look, that looks kind of cool, huh? But the oranges was just a nice color. And then this is a quote I printed onto some fabric. I will have a free printable down below for you, as well as a link to a video that shows you how to print onto fabric using, inkjet or a laser printer. All right, really fun. And so that's what I did, just printed it onto fabric. I've got a piece of course, batting and another piece of fabric. I just ripped the fabric, and then I'm going to sew around that a couple of times to make the tag, and then I'm going to set that to the side for a little bit. Now for some more pretties, I'm using this pick that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I really love the color of the leaves, and I'm going to use those little ball things as well. And then these are just some wire squiggles that came off the acorn picks you can get at Dollar Tree. They're already made for me. Why not cut them off? So I'm going to go ahead and glue in a couple of leaves. Just the shade of green looks so pretty with the orange. And again, this is going to be real simple in design because it just looks elegant, and I don't want too much on it, which is unusual for me when I'm making a pumpkin. Add in the squiggles, add in those little ball-shaped things because the color had a little bit of orangey on it that looked nice with the colors of the fabric. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring our tag back in with our quote on it, and I've got a bow tied out of some ribbon from my supply. I'm going to glue that on, and then I'm going to bring in the different ribbon I thought was prettier than that checked ribbon, but that's also from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to glue that down, and when I glued the ribbon down, it kind of made the tag look like it was floating. So I'm just taking a safety pin to pin the tag to the bow. That way it looks all connected. That makes this project complete. Here's a sneaky peek, but we'll get up close and personal with it at the end of the video. Let's move on to project number 3. For this project, I'm using some fabric from Hobby Lobby, this green and of course this yellowy orange plaid, and then this other one. Now this back one I'm going to do off camera because it's going to be the same thing as I'm showing you on camera, and they were all 40% off because they were considered fall fabrics. Now I'll have a free pattern for you below in my description box, of course. We're going to make some cute kind of rustic farmhouse corn. These are the 2 pieces you're going to need. You're going to cut 2 from the corn on the left and 4 from the leaf on the right. So of course I cut everything off on camera, and I opted to use some batting. You can buy it in a bag or by the yard at Walmart. I cut 1 piece for each of the leaves and 2 pieces for the corn. Now forgive this little pile of batting at the top, but when I got it out and I was cutting on it, little Boston decided to take a nap, and she's too cute to, take her off the table. So we'll let her sleep in the pile of batting up above us, and we will work down below. We will make the adjustment. If you're a gluer and you use batting, you're going to want to glue each piece of batting to each piece of fabric. Then whether or not you use batting, then you want to glue the corn together. So you're going to go around the edge and then right down on one side at the bottom, leave like a 3-finger opening, and then put those together. If you're a sewer, you're going to do the same thing. Go all the way around, leave about a 3-finger opening, right? Then once that's sewn or glued together, you're going to stuff it and then close it if you're a gluer, or close it if you're a sewer. If you're a gluer, if you use the batting or don't use the batting, glue your 2 pieces of fabric with or without the batting together on both leaves. If you're a sewer, go ahead and sew around the perimeter of each leaf. I'm calling it a leaf. I guess it's a corn husk, isn't it? All right, so here I am just kind of showing you a little bit. I'm going around our husk and sewing around the perimeter. And I don't care if you're new to my channel, if the batting peeks out around the edges or anything like that. That's what gives it some personality. And then here I am coming around with the corn, and I'm going to sew it all the way down until I get near the bottom, and again leave, a 2-3 inch opening there, and then I will stuff it off camera, and then I will sew that opening close. And here it is all stuffed. Everything's sewn together, got my leaves. Now let's move on to, I want to call it leaves. We're going with it. What you want to do, gluer or sewer. I'm a sewer, but I'm going to still glue this part on, as we want to put our leaves down at the bottom of our corn. So kind of wrap it half onto your corn. I made the pattern so each leaf would wrap halfway around the corn, and just down at the bottom about 3 inches, and then glue it all together. So here I'm kind of gluing one side around the bottom of the corn, and you're at the pointy end of the corn, and then take the other one, wrap it around the leaf and the corn, and then glue it down together like that. So you've got that little wrap, little overlap at the bottom like this. Okay, now I like to sew, so I'm just going to add some stitches right down at the bottom. It's just decorative. You do not have to do this. So of course, this is what that looks like. See, just a little decorative stitch, just some fun. Kind of bend your leaves down, husks, leaves. You could actually like iron them down so they stay kind of, folded over. And now I'm going to use some Distress Oxide ink. This is Fossilized Amber, and then this is Vintage Photo. Our fabric looks a little flat. Let's add some dimension. So basically, I'm just taking a little sponge dauber. It fits on my finger, and I'm just rubbing like the vintage photo ink all along on the leaves around the point and just kind of giving it a little bit of shading, just as if you were painting and adding some shading. Okay, and I'm going to come in the same thing with that fossilized amber. It's kind of like an orangish yellow, and I'm just kind of shading around the corn, like I said, giving it some dimension. You can skip this part if you want to. You don't have to do it. Now, just as in with the other project, I've printed onto some muslin fabric. You could stamp on it too. Some Michael's clickable stamps would be cute. I've cut a piece of batting and a piece of muslin for the back, and I'm going to sew around it. You, of course, could glue around if you're a gluer, and here is my sewing. I don't care that my word is crooked or anything like that. It gives it fun. And I'm just inking around the word, leaving the center of the word not inked, so it kind of adds a halo to it. Inking the back to finish it off. Set that aside. And I'm going to use some of this creepy cloth from Dollar Tree. You don't have to do it, but we need to make that stringy stuff that's in the center. And I'm actually going to do a combination of this creepy cloth and some sisal. And like you could use one or the other or both. Like I said, I'm going to use both, and I'm just kind of gluing in that creepy cloth down along the bottom of the corn, onto our husks a little bit. Here's some of that sisal. The sisal looks a lot more like the stringy stuff, but I wanted just a little bit more bulk in there, or not bulk, but dimension using that creepy cloth. And so I'm adding sisal in down around kind of the bottom of that corn there and gluing it in. And then I'll bring up our little husks a little bit more and glue it a little bit more up onto the corn so you don't see any of the glue spots. And now I've got a little kind of orange plaid ribbon here. You get this ribbon at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to add it to the front of our tag here a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue the tag down up onto the corn a little bit higher there, and then I'm just adding a safety pin to attach it all together. This is done. I'll go ahead and bring in the other corn I made off camera. I made them together as a pair, but you could make a trio, a quadruple, I don't know, whatever you want. They are super cute and would so be cute in your farmhouse fall decor. Here it is, Autumn Wishes, and that makes this project complete. Thank you so much for joining me today. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which project was your favorite. And let me know on that cutting board if you would have added handles to those little top pieces or not. I'm curious how many of you liked the handle idea. I don't know. I just have to know. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. If you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out, you're digging what you saw, maybe you came over from Tracy's channel or Jen's channel, welcome. Before you click off, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's totally free. You don't want to miss out on any more projects from me. Thank you, Jen and Tracy, for collaborating with me. As usual, I love collaborating with you both. I love our styles. They all go so well together, and you two you're so sweet. You just make me happy. If you've not been to Jen or Tracy's channel, I can't imagine any of you that haven't, but make sure you go check them out. I'll have the links to their channels in my description box. But if you want to get there a little bit quicker, remember the playlist link will be in my description box as well as pinned in my comments, so that all our videos with fall inspiration for you are there in one convenient location. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. It will take courage and faith to live your everyday life consistently so that every person you come into contact with sees the love and grace of God flowing from your spirit. You may also be a glass half empty person when it comes to how you face your everyday life with Jesus. And here's what I mean. When you mess up, you probably tend to focus on the negative aspect of what you did wrong or how you acted and reacted to the situation versus learning from it and striving to do better. You looked at the negative aspect versus the positive, also known as glass half empty. You shouldn't carry around the wrong thing you did, but rather release the wrong to God and strive for the right. Humbly ask for forgiveness and then have a conversation with Jesus. Okay, how can I take this situation and learn from it? And Jesus, what is it that you need me to see? Being a child of God isn't showing your perfectionist attitude to those who cross your path. People watch you, how you move with certain situations and how you walk away from them. You see, the courage to live every day with Jesus lies in the humble attitude of the heart and being vulnerable enough to share him with others. People want to know how to handle difficult situations. For example, when to make the right decision, what to do with that decision. Having faith to live every day with Jesus also lies within who you allow people to see when you walk through the situation. People want to see the realness of your life, not the precision-filled perfection of it. There is not a perfect life to be shared with others. It just isn't realistic. There is only a perfect God to be shared with others, and that's who you must strive to let others see. Show how a perfect God loves an imperfect human and how he is continually with you in your garden of life. Show how he moves you into action or leads you beside still waters. How he refreshes your soul and guides you along right paths. Show how he never leaves you, how his rod and staff comforts you, and how his goodness follows you all the days of your life. In essence, with everyday consistency, show how God loves sharing life with you. People will notice that, and they'll notice that something is different in your life than theirs. They'll notice how you approach each day, not half empty or even half full, but literally overflowing with God in your life. Allowing this kind of reality to flow from your spirit in full view will plant seeds to help transform lives, shape minds, and save souls. All for the glory of God, so that hopefully one day we can all dwell in the house of the Lord together forever. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.